I think the universal basic income is it's a good idea, and I think it's something I would like to see at some point. The question is now the time to introduce a UBI? Actually, I don't think it is. I think we need to think about sequencing here. So the previous two responses did a good job of thinking about, so what are the problems that it's trying to solve? Insecurity and precarity, dependence on work, poverty, structural unemployment. We're about to see a huge unemployment crisis, I think. And as Josiah said, it may well contribute to workers' leverage, and give the population more of a financial freedom. However, I think we do need to be really clear on what some of the potentially adverse effects of introducing a UBI might be. I think there is a risk that a UBI becomes functionally a subsidy for rentiers, so landlords, or for the private sector. So we need to do the work of demonetizing, decommodifying, and demarketizing large chunks of our economy which provide basic needs. Because I think there's a real risk that if you introduce a universal basic income, so everyone has however much it is a month, let's say a grand hypothetically in your pocket, more a month, and everyone has that. What is to stop private rented landlords hiking their rents £500 a month? Across the market, they go up £500. And what you're essentially seeing is a transfer of cash from the government to private landlords via the population. So, and you could see the same with food, you could see the same with utilities, you could see the same with education that is paid for. I think, one of the examples I often go to with this phenomena is when George Osborne introduced the postgraduate loan. It was £10,000 loan a few years ago. What you saw in the years immediately after that, after everyone had a guaranteed access to this £10,000, masters kind of courses in the UK on average went from being around 5 or 6k to 7k to 8k to 9k, and now you're hard pressed to find a master's course that isn't in the top end of that 10k bracket. Why is that? That's because the market knows that people have access to the funds to pay for it, and with things like rent, like utilities, these aren't services or provisions that people can opt out of, and so the market mechanisms around demand wouldn't work quite so well. So what we need to do is with these basic services, we need to bring them into public ownership. So we need to make sure that housing is a basic right. We need to end private landlords, massively expand council housing or direct home ownership by occupiers. We need to make sure that food is a guaranteed basic right. We need a national food service to do that provision. We need to bring transport, water, energy, mail, all of that into public ownership and provided for really cheap or for free. And we need to make sure we have a national education service that makes education free and accessible from cradle to grave. And we need a mass program of green jobs to make sure that anyone who wants to work can work, while also contributing to a Green New Deal and solving the climate crisis. So as I say, I think there is a role for a universal basic income to contribute to solving those problems that have been very correctly outlined. And it could do huge deals for a huge deal for bargaining power and financial freedom, as has been said. But I don't think it's a sufficient response to this the crises that have been exacerbated by neoliberalism, that process of marketizing the economy, of commodifying the economy, to simply respond with a monetary solution. We need to be reconfiguring how our economy works. There isn't one simple trick to avoid or to respond to all of those challenges. It does require a transformation of the economy, which you might be part of later on, but it would be putting the cart before the horse to do it as the first thing or to portray it as a silver bullet, I think.